Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Thursday. No ballad trailer.
Again.
Still waiting, but not really any ballad news. There was some minor castings that were published today, but otherwise no news, question mark, right?
The only thing I can think of is that synopsis update that
Oh, the
Ballad of
removing
Songbirds,
singing.
Kaylee posted. Which, I mean, they didn't change that much. It just seemed like they changed it to, I don't know, be a little bit more cinematic sounding.
So people are like, oh, did they remove the singing from the reaping? Because I think it removed that quote.
Oh, interesting.
I'm just like, I don't know.
There was one line in there about Snow going down the path of like good or evil. And I thought that line was a little funny, but I don't know, because I feel like it's not so like black and white. But I don't know. I'm trying. That's the only valid news I have.
It's very quiet. It's like quiet, like too quiet.
I just think that I've been so let down because of how hyped up we were about getting a trailer
weeks ago.
And then it's just like I just feel like dead inside, honestly. Like there's never gonna be any news ever again.
Yes.
I've been in a bad mood because of it, honestly.
It's been for months too. I mean, Holly and I were saying like all the way back to the Super Bowl when we were like, maybe we'll get something.
Oh no.
Like
I was so naive.
We didn't get anything then. We didn't get anything with John Wick. Still don't have anything. Here we are.
I feel like John Wick kind of flopped anyway, so.
Did it?
I don't know. It just kind of felt like it did.
It earned as much as like the last movie. It started out strong, but it ended up earning as much as the last movie did.
Well, that seems pretty good. I mean, to hold steady, I don't know.
I mean, it'd be great if Ballad makes more money. Let's hope. Oh, the Fandango poll of the top 10 most anticipated movies, and Ballad wasn't on there.
Oh, recently?
That's
weird. I think it was published like yesterday or day before.
What the heck?
And they asked like I think it's like out of 6,000 people that they asked, and I'm just like,
what about us?
Of all these movies.
I'm not surprised though, because like there's no trailer, so I feel like that would bump it up for people. Like people who haven't read the book, they don't really have anything to react to.
That's very true. But like, we just need it. We need the trailer. It's driving me insane.
We need something. Well, should we get into Ballad?
Woohoo!
Last two chapters of part 2.
Wild chapters.
They're so good.
But also I feel like they're chapters that like moviegoers would hate.
I just can't imagine a lot of this.
Yeah. You think like, moviegoers will hate it, but it's like the arena. I think it might be the most interesting part to some people.
More so like just the conversation he has, and then like with Mr. or what's his name, Strabo.
Oh, Strabo.
Yeah, that's gonna be cut out. And I feel like, the part that I was thinking, I lost my train of thought, was like Lucy Gray singing with the snakes. That's the part where I was like, I think
okay.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Oh, that part's wild. I can't wait to talk about that.
Get there.
That is the part, like we'll talk about it, but that is the part of the book where the first time I read it, I was like, this is trash to me and I hate this and I don't know.
No! Holly, for me, that was the reaping.
No,
come on now.
Honestly, I like it. I do like it overall, but like, I was like, oh god, the reaping scene just like was the cringiest thing I've ever read.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
It's like fan fiction. It's fan fiction.
This is how we're starting off. I can't.
It was so annoying.
We went uphill though. It's fun.
Yeah, we did. It ended up being good. I liked it overall. But anyway.
So we're starting off the chapter with Snow has just dropped his handkerchief in the tank of snakes. and he's freaking out.
It's so funny to hear how anxious he is. I just love
He
reading it.
literally is freaking out, I feel like, more than when he murdered someone.
Yes.
Like, he's worried about
'Cause-
getting in trouble with this. Whereas
Yeah.
before, like, when he killed someone, he was more just like mad about his agency being taken away. Like, well, if I'm gonna murder someone, I'm gonna decide when and where I do it. Whereas
Yes.
here, he's just like completely stressed about like his whole life falling apart because of this.
Mhm.
I just felt like this. It kind of encapsulates my anxiety though, because like sometimes I'll feel like I'll like do something and like I might get in trouble for it, but like I won't. It's just me overthinking. So I kind of identified with Snow a little bit
No,
in this.
no,
mean,
I feel that.
I'm not gonna like do anything like that. He's crazy, but I kind of related to him minorly in this.
I agree.
But then he just like says that he wants to live honestly, and then he immediately is like,
That's the funniest
And then
line.
he
Yeah.
From now on,
goes-
he'd live honestly.
Even
"But
if
I'm
he's
gonna
a
go to the
beggar."
plants." He's so annoying. I can't stand him.
Yeah, he's all anxious. He's like, you know what would make me feel better? Some money.
Begging.
Well, at least he's consistently self-absorbed. Like that stays the
100%.
same. Yeah.
Love that for him.
He's a consistent character.
And I just love his judgment of the plinth house when he first gets there. I think that's
I wrote that down in my note too.
Mhm.
He has to refocus though. He's like, okay, I didn't come here to judge. I came here to be thanked.
Yeah.
I came here to collect.
That's not
And-
important right now.
He's like, I'm not judging. And then he continues to just like judge everything. Like literally like the kitchen, like the fact that she feeds the Avoxes the pies or the custard.
that is so sweet.
That is so sweet.
Yeah. Well, it's also like his only sense of control because he can't control his own living situation. So instead of feeling bad about himself, he judges someone else's living situation when you can
Oh.
argue
He's
is
just a
actually better
jealous-
than his.
He's just a jealous little baby. I hate him.
He's an orphan.
Ugh.
Not that again. Gabby.
I've seen Annie. It turned out okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, because she got rich. Hello.
That's true.
There we go.
And
He's
so
seen
did
Annie too.
Snow.
There we
So
go.
did Snow though.
He watched it.
I thought the line about him being like, oh, of course she wants me to have tea in the kitchen
Mm-hmm.
instead of like the formal room or whatever. I was like, shut up. I was just
Okay, but I would love to see these like pies in the movie though. Like they
Same.
sound so delicious.
we don't get that much food in this book, which always like kind of disappointed me. So I hope they kind of amplify it in the movie. Like more than they did with the original movies.
So we have something to tier rank again.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I'm so
I
excited.
feel like the food's gonna be terrible looking in Ballad.
100%.
No. Well, yeah, a lot of it, but not this.
The custard, not Ma's custard pies. Those look so
Yeah.
good.
All
No,
Moss
not
food
Moss
is gonna be
food.
the best.
Yeah, it's going to be
Not the
top
human
tier.
life.
I hate the line taste buds tingled in pleasure. I just had to bring that up. I really hated that.
Oh,
I made a note specifically for that.
My favorite is the home sign in the house. It reminds me of like
So
the
cute.
love laugh signs people have.
Or like the Ray Dunn stuff.
Yes. Panem Ray Dunn. And what if they would sell that as like merch? Then he meets Mr. Plinth.
Lovely guy.
He just like Snow just has such bad like daddy mommy issues. Like he does not
All the
trust like
issues.
any parent. Like he has all
He
the
has
issues,
no
honestly.
good role models in his life.
It's so sad.
He's an
That like
orphan.
this whole
He is an
interaction,
orphan.
The orphan.
this whole interaction is so awkward and just like it makes me super uncomfortable. I don't know. And I think that he can definitely see through Snow during this. Like he doesn't believe him at all about like Sejanus being his friend and all that. And how he like compares his mom to like Snow compares his mom to himself, and he's just like, oh well, we like music or like we sing, and that's the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
then-
like that
and
he asks him, "Are you like your mother?" Because I feel like that's the question of the book. Like, are you going to follow in the
Ooh.
path of like your mother or your father?
Yeah.
Ooh, just like Katniss.
I was
Mm,
bored at work
true.
yesterday, so I listened to these chapters, and then I ended up just listening to like the whole rest of the book at work. And I felt like this part kind of foreshadowed his end decisions with what he does, and like,
Mm,
Oh yeah, with the compact in the
Mhm.
lake, we'll get there. But
yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
And the compass, right?
yeah. So he's already chosen like what he wants. So that's why I just am like, I don't trust that he actually likes Lucy Gray that much. I mean, it's complicated, but he's chosen his path already. I hope this comes across in the movie. I'm very stressed about that.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure
like-
it'll be. I'm sure it'll be fine, Ronnie. Don't worry about it.
I mean, thinking that they put like whether he like chooses good or evil in the like little description, it seems like that's part of it. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
but he ends up leaving with nothing.
Mm. What a slap in the face.
Yeah, I hate
Everything's so
that.
hard for him.
He risks his life to go in the arena. He got hurt.
Poor thing.
Poor
And
thing.
he's just like, my life's an uphill battle. Like,
I'm an orphan. There are
Oh my God.
taxes. And then it gets super interesting.
Right in this paper.
Yeah.
she's insane.
Well, I mean,
mean,
this is the dialogue that philosophers have had when,
That's
especially
very
like,
true.
especially whenever they were forming the United States, like, and trying to figure out how to form the Constitution. Like they kind of determined like which view of humanity they're gonna take. And so this has been like an ongoing dialogue that goes hand in hand with like just war theory. But
That is so interesting. I need you to write like a dissertation on this book, please.
okay.
Please get a PhD in the Hunger Games study.
All right. I'll
Right
go
behind-
find a school. Yeah. That'll let me do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because some of the things he's saying, like you can agree with a little bit, but it's just his interpretation of certain aspects of it.
Right.
Like
and it's
Yeah.
people needing to agree on laws to follow. Like, yeah, like we need a social contract. We need rules to follow.
Yeah.
But
but the reason why we need a social contract is very important because
true, it
then
goes
that
back to the like
determines-
who humanity is.
yeah, because then that determines whether or not we can justify a war, whether or not we can justify the arena. And so if we think that in order for justice to happen, we need to control humans because we are naturally like unjust people, that we don't have control over good things, but we're actually inherently bad, then a natural, like, it's very easy to go from there to saying, oh yeah, well, having the arena is a very good way to strive for justice, because then we're using violence for the means of promoting justice. And so that's because we are bad, humans are bad. And it's like a cyclical thought pattern.
It's very similar to like the question that they bring up at the end of Mockingjay about the sending the capital's children to a symbolic Hunger Games. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it doesn't end. I mean, it's a cycle.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it has to take people whoever has the power in that situation to reframe the question of, well, what does it mean to be human? What is humanity? And so we see that President Coin had a similar view that President Snow has.
They were all speechless from this.
Snaps.
That's amazing. It's great.
I hope that made sense, but
It does.
You always make sense.
It's just interesting.
yeah. So like on page 292, to put it in context for us Americans, it says, without the control to enforce a contract, chaos reigned. The power that controlled needed to be greater than the people. Otherwise, it would challenge it. So for America, we believe that we have unalienable rights because of this concept of God, this concept of, because the people who wrote the Constitution, some of them were religious. And so that is the power that we would say today for Americans, that need to be greater than us people, is this concept of a God. And so, but for them in this book, they, with religion not being in it, which is so cool that she wrote it that way, but this power is this system, this structure, this institution, which is the capital. And then I would go as far to say that that's what we've turned into. It's like there's this like power shift that's happened in the United States, but it's fine if you disagree. That's just my own opinion, but I think that's what Suzanne's trying to comment on here. It's a military industrial complex, but that's another thing.
I agree with that so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion. So yeah.
Should do like a video essay, honestly. I would watch the heck out of that.
Okay, anyways, back to the story. So
so we get back to watching the games, and Wovie makes an appearance.
Wovie.
And she dies pretty quick.
oof, that was pretty brutal.
It was
Her
so
death.
sad.
Yeah.
Which is the rat poison, we assume, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be so hard to watch.
And that actress that's playing her is so cute. It's gonna be so
Yeah.
sad.
I actually just listened to a podcast. I don't know if you guys like saw it or listened to it too, that she was on last month, and she talked she only had said a few sentences about working on the Hunger Games, but she said she had quite a few lines, and that they asked her what the most challenging part of it was, and she said it was filming like a lot of scenes in the dark. So
Oh,
it's gonna be like a lot of tunnel scenes for her, I guess, which would make sense with the character in the book.
yeah. You have to send that to us because I don't know which podcast that is. That I would like to listen to it.
Okay, I'll send it. I mean, that's pretty much it. It was like a longer podcast, and she couldn't really say much of anything, but just makes me excited to hear more from the cast too.
Yeah, me
To
too.
start doing press and interviews and everything.
Oh, I cannot wait till that happens. I'm excited for like behind the
It's gonna be
scenes stuff.
so good.
Back to Ballad, the book.
So he's worried about Lucy Gray, obviously, and he hasn't seen her in a while, so he's kind of freaking out. I like this little part that he's like, let me try to think about her and maybe we can like communicate telepathically.
Oh, telepathically, yes. Then he sends.
I kind of like Reaper when he's in the arena.
Oh, same.
Yeah. I'm kind of liking this character. I can't wait to
with
see
his
him.
flag pieces. Of flags.
Yeah, he's like kind of interesting and he's suspicious of the food and like I would love to know what's going on in his mind.
I mean, I feel like he's going to be a pretty like big character. We're going to see him a lot because he ends up being the last one with Lucy Gray.
Yeah. I hope so.
Me too.
How they're going to have time to fit all this in, I don't know, but
I know.
there's so much.
There's so much.
3 hours long.
Please.
Please. And are we at where he sends the food in? Am I jumping ahead? I don't have my book. I lent it to a friend, so I'm just going based on my
Get another
audiobook
book.
notes. But like, know which part are we at?
Let's see. He doesn't eat the lima beans. Because I don't know, he has PTSD from the lima beans. Oh, and Dr. Gull announces that Gaius Breen has passed away.
Oh,
Waiting for the perfect moment to announce that and use it.
Mm.
A little bit before that, I love the part where he's like making his way to the school or whatever, and he passes by all the fans outside the or is it outside the arena? Or
yeah.
And he's like,
oh yeah,
Coriolanus felt glad his own fans had a little more class. Like,
Yes.
just those little comments make me love this book.
Talking about us. Spread everyone
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
but that's the stuff that's gonna be gone in the movie.
I know.
There's no way to. I don't know. Besides adding additional dialogue, which the book is already too long. I don't know how they would get something like that across. I feel like a lot of those little moments that like make up his character are going to be lost, but that's just
what
how
I'm worried
movies are.
about. I'm worried about how they're going to portray him so that we don't like him. But I still want to have that element of like when I was listening to the audiobook yesterday, like there are parts I just like stop and like laugh to myself because he's
Same.
just pathetic, you
Mhm.
know? And so I don't know if it's like the cheesy, like I know this isn't a thing and I don't want this, but like the cheesy thing where there's a character and you can hear their inner monologue. Like, no, I don't want that, but like I want them to somehow convey his inner monologue.
What's he
No,
going to
I
do? Talk
100%.
to himself? Like, because if you just have his like how he appears to other people, he doesn't seem that bad or really that bad at all. So
Exactly.
I think they're gonna like either like have him trust into Janus a lot more, or he's gonna talk to Tigris a lot more. So he's like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's like turn it into dialogue and like have him be himself, and then like show like, oh, he's fake around other people, but he inside he's like, you know, this guy we all know.
that'd
Yeah.
be very interesting with Tigris because I don't know. I wonder if that would like show their relationship and how she sees him like changing more.
Yeah, 'cause there's a
Yeah.
lot. There's a
And
lot
like it
that,
bothering
like,
her and maybe seeing more of that like rift start a little bit.
Oh, that's so good. I hope they do that.
it's like half the book is just his internal dialogue. Cause like
Mhm.
Yeah.
you can't like cut that out because it's really important. But I don't think Francis Lawrence would like have like a voiceover for like the movie because that's
I
That
don't
would be
think
like
so
low-key
either.
funny.
I would.
Honestly, the book is funny, so like I half wouldn't mind it.
I mean, it's already a musical. Why not?
Like imagine him just like saying like something like nice to like Moplinth and then like a voiceover, like just his face
Like
like saying something snarky, like it'd be hilarious.
She's poor. She's coming. He does say so many snarky things in this. I definitely noticed it this time when I was listening to it.
He's pretty
Especially
funny.
because Santino delivers it really well.
Mhm.
He
Just
does.
saying.
He definitely he
Oh
does.
my god, I was so livid because I went onto Audible and I was just curious, or no, I went on to Storygraph and I was reading reviews for Ballad, and somebody said, I hated the audiobook. The narrator did not do a good job. I was like,
Oh yeah, they're bad
"What?
reviews.
No.
I don't know what
There-
people are on. I
There are
don't get it.
moments that I don't. There are moments that I really truly do not like.
I feel like you
about
can
his
tell he
performance.
hasn't done that many audiobooks.
Yeah.
And you can hear
Like
the
sometimes
cuts.
the audio quality is like not the best. He's not good at being like consistent. You can hear like where
Yeah.
it changes where he like stopped and started again.
But
But
his snow
He
is
does
very
snow
good.
so
really
good.
well.
It's amazing.
I love his Dr. Gall.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Yes.
also he did like urban really well. I felt like
Oh yeah.
Very like geeky.
only a couple lines, but yeah.
Lucy Gray though. I
I
don't
love
like
the
his
grandma.
Lucy Gray.
The grandma.
I
was-
hate the singing. Well, I know they agree, but what I hate the most, and we'll get to it, is just a la la la.
No,
la,
that was
la,
my
la,
note.
la.
That was my
My
note.
notes.
Holly. It was
That is in
la,
my
la, la.
notes.
La la la. La la la. The singing
That's-
has never bothered me except until this moment.
Just like imagining Rachel Zegler just like
La 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 la.
screaming.
La 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 la.
La la la. La la la.
La 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 la. That's awful. That's absolutely awful.
But Dr. Gall then says, we have a surprise in store for the districts.
Fun.
Dun dun dun. The
It's a bunch of
invitations.
It's a bunch of snakes. Just a bunch of snakes.
Poor Clemencia too.
Mhm.
Oh, I hate it. I don't like the scale talk. It's so gross. It like gives me the chills.
What I didn't like is that they're designed to hunt humans and
Oh,
reproduce
yeah.
rapidly. I said, what?
Oh
The
no.
fact
Yeah.
that like she says they're just snakelets now, but when they're full grown, they'll be able to easily outrun a human. Like, no, thank you.
So
What?
Not a
Good.
fan. Not a fan of the word snakelet either. I don't know why. I just
It-
don't like it.
It's not a can we make it? It's a should we make it?
I'm really curious to see how they do this. I hope it doesn't look ridiculous because this could look absolutely crazy.
I really in my head it kind of looks insane.
Like
That's
this,
what I'm
this whole
saying.
part.
Like moviegoers are gonna be like, what is going on
What
right
is
now?
going on? Because they would
So
really have to.
disappointed.
They would have to like really kind of explain this somehow. I mean, I don't know if people would really pick up on context clues.
Like, I don't know. I guess if you think about it in the first arena, like it was hard. No, I can't compare the wolves.
I guess Mockingjay. I
guess,
think
no.
Mockingjay.
Hopefully it'll be better than the dogs.
But it's okay to be disappointed because we were disappointed with the dogs. So like
Yeah.
it's okay if it happens. It's all right.
But it's
There's,
still
like-
disappointing.
I feel like the word, like Ronnie said, snakelet, like something about that isn't like aggressive. Like I just picture some tiny little gardener snake.
No.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that they're probably gonna buff them up a little bit and like make them look like really big. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they're
Yeah.
gonna be like baby snakes.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
that's
just
what it sounds
imagining these like neon yellow and
I know,
pink and
I- like,
blue
I
little
hate
skinny
it.
things. Oh,
If they just made them like normal snakes, I would be fine with that.
like I don't know if I would be fine with that.
they've
just-
got to match Lucy Gray, I guess.
And
She's a
let me-
snake, right? Hmm.
See, I just picture like it's been sent around in group chats and stuff, but just those like iridescent snakes. I don't know. I picture kind of that.
Yeah. We'll see. I feel like
I feel like there's
trust
a
it.
trend of them toning down the, kind of fantastic wild elements.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see them not being super like colorful. But I think
Which
they
I-
have to be like large.
Yeah. I kind of like that they tone down the mutts, I guess, especially which of course I know, like in the book, like with the first Hunger Games book, the mutts in that arena are particularly horrifying and stuff. And I really feel like the mutts are an aspect of the Hunger Games world building that works really well in book form, but in movie form would be really easy to make it look really goofy.
Yeah.
And I feel like maintaining more realism rather than science fiction for that aspect is more effective ultimately for the storytelling. So
Yeah.
I've sent those pictures of those like iridescent snakes I've seen on Pinterest or whatever, and that's what I'm hoping for, because I feel like those look real. I don't know if they are real. I haven't done any research, but still a little bit unique, and different than like your regular little garden snake or something, but still real looking. Like I would really hate, I'm not gonna lie, I would really hate if we get like a hot pink snake. I'm like, what is this? So I don't know.
It's like those toy rubber snakes that you get at like the Dollar
Exactly.
Tree or something.
Right.
Exactly. That's what I
yeah.
really don't. So like, as much as it's fun to read about neon snakes or something, or like losing some of the horror elements of some of the other mutts, I feel like it works best for the integrity of the story and stuff. And that's a sacrifice. That's an adaptation sacrifice I'm very okay with.
Yeah.
Same.
And especially because this is they're just snakes with a different color, but they're just snakes,
I need
Like,
that on a t-shirt.
And like that in itself is like such a great weapon, because that's frightening. And like in the first book, they were these like mutt human dog animal things that made it was kind of like you had to picture it up. At least this, we know like what a snake looks like is a snake,
Yeah. And I feel
They're
like
just
the fact
snakes.
you had to like imagine what those dog human mutts look like, because there is nothing like that in real life. You're not gonna get like like you might have a vague concept of what that looks like, and there's been concept art and there's been whatever, and I've seen some of that concept art, and I'm not trying to knock it or anything, but I'm like, I'm so glad they didn't end up doing that, because I feel like it would take the viewer out of the experience. Like you can no longer
Sure.
suspend your disbelief anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. that
And
makes
It was pretty
sense.
bad.
And I feel like when you're reading the book, because you have no visuals, whatever you're imagining is going to be 10 times scarier than any studio could ever do. Because it's just like this abstract concept more than it is like, here's a real animal, and yeah, like the snakes here, like it's not like they fly or are particularly interesting. Like they're just colorful snakes.
Yeah.
Which I would want to befriend, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, okay, Lucy Gray.
Yeah. on my 15th birthday, I was at my grandparents' house and in France, and I was walking around the garden, and there was a tiny little garden snake, and I crouched down next to it, and I was like, "Oh, hello, birthday snake," and he got into my hand, and it was very cute. And then I had to put him on the other side of the fence because my grandpa saw it and was like running down with a shovel, and I was like, "Absolutely not! You are not killing a snake on my birthday."
Lucy
So-
Gray.
You Lucy Gray, you. Wow.
I love snakes.
I
I
love
have
that.
I have a snake tattooed on my shin. I love snakes.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
The snakes go into our dress.
well,
Which everybody talks about like the Mockingjay dress, the reaping, like the reaping dress, but nobody talks about the snake dress, because it like how he describes it. Like I want to see this visually. It's so,
I forget that even happened.
I know, me
I
too.
read
that and I
I
was
was
like,
listening
oh,
to it.
That's kind of
I was
like
what?
that's kind of like badass. Like like it's weird, but I'm like, okay,
I'm good
If
if
I
they
sit
cut
and
that.
think about it
Yeah,
for
I'm
a
good if they
second.
get rid of that.
Let's
No,
let's
if I
maybe
sit
not.
and think about it for a second, like that is such a cool image.
Like it
Of,
would be
like-
cool if they
Think
did it
about it.
right.
Well,
Like-
of course.
not
Well,
Mm.
duh, if they do it
Agency.
right. If they don't do it right,
Like
it's gonna look
anything,
like
but-
trash.
Wait, you guys have to play. Jerry said the la la part, and I gotta
Yes,
play it.
yes, play it.
Do it. Do
Get
it.
ready for this.
Oh God.
La 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 la
Like,
la 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 la.
Like it just goes on longer. It goes on longer than you
So
think it
bad.
should. Like
I want that to be my ringtone. Can that be?
We
Wait,
should make shirts.
Holly, Emily, can that be the new intro music for your podcast episode?
Yes. La
La la la la la la.
la 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 la. It's so monotone. He's a singer. Like I don't understand it.
I don't understand. Maybe they told him not to sing it, and he was just like annoyed, and so he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna make this as memorable as I can without singing it." I
Oh,
don't
it
know.
was. I mean, it was memorable. All right, it was definitely memorable.
Okay, but like what purpose, thinking of Suzanne sitting down to write this scene, what purpose does this serve?
It's
Like realistically, what
Okay.
does
Okay.
I'm at a loss.
You mean like the
That's-
la-las or like
The law, not kidding. No, like just like the snake dress and just how like over the top this is.
symbolism. Listen, she
Okay,
had,
Lucy
a,
Gray
she had
is
a
maybe a
girl's
snake.
dress. She had a girl's dress catch on fire and then turn into a bird. I mean, she's
She's
known
the
for her wild
Mockingjay.
stuff. Like, I
and
mean,
Lucy Gray's a snake. That's what it is.
But it's just
Snake
like
question mark? Question mark? Is she a snake?
Question mark.
picture.
I think
it.
that she's a
This is just
songbird.
So hard.
Yeah.
like,
it's no like
if
that's I think
I-
that's a great question to ask, Holly.
Like if I would have known y'all the first time that I read this book and would have been able to express to you my feelings on it, like a lot of my negative feelings came from these crazy over the top scenes.
It comes from Lucy Gray
understand
because
that.
she's weird.
Like,
And that's
how I feel.
I was thinking about this the other day. Like nobody really ships Lucy Gray and Coriolanus. They either ship him with Sejanus or Clemencia. Like nobody ships him with Lucy Gray.
Yeah.
I don't like her very much.
okay.
I'm gonna
listen.
look up. There is this review of Ballad that I watched right after I finished Ballad, and I really have never related to anything more. It's really negative, but I'll
Oh,
tell
no.
I think I know which
y'all.
one you're talking about.
No.
Tell us. Tell us.
Is it that
No.
one? Is it a guy? Is that that one guy
Yeah,
on
it's a
YouTube?
guy.
Yeah, I know what it is. I think you
No.
sent
Like,
it to
why
me
does-
before.
Yeah, I sent it to you. I was
I
like,
laughed through the whole thing though, even though I completely disagreed. It was funny.
it was just like, why is every character's end of their name anus? Like that's literally
He was such a downer though, talking about how it ruined like the whole series. We've lost Gabby.
I remember it, so I'm sending it to everyone. I remember when I watched this the first time. I was like,
You've got to find the point and play it, Holly.
okay, talk about something, I'll get it loaded.
It's really funny.
I've
No, I
never
feel
thought
like at
about
some point
that.
we've all had that feeling about Ballad, but through discussing it and like there are
It's
like funny
growing on
weird
me.
parts.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I,
like
I feel like it could use some editing personally, like the whole book, but
well, I so love the weird parts because everything weird, most of it, always has to do with Lucy Gray. And so there's always a connection to something weird happening or some weird lines being said. It's like, oh, Lucy's character said that, or she's involved in it, or whatever. But that's because like that's the whole point of her character. She's supposed to be like this aloof, like mysterious.
she's a theater
like,
girl. Like
she's the wild
Duh.
card. In the group in a heist, she would be the wild card. And I don't know if we've had a wild card character yet. And like I love it. I'm here for it.
She's that one character on Survivor that I never like. It's like the weird one.
The differing opinions here are great. This is why we have this podcast.
Well, okay, Chase. I saw what you wrote. I disagree with you. It's not immature compared to the trilogy because it is still a commentary on war and how people respond to war. Okay, it is the same in the trilogy as it is in the prequel. Everyone is trying to like there are so many different angles of how people are involved in war, and so now we have this character where she's trying to be neutral and she's trying to be like, I'm not either side. I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to pick a side, but yeah, I'm being victimized. Like I'm dealing with the negative consequences of war, but I don't even like claim this nation. I don't claim this identity. And so like, what is this character supposed to act like? Like, what is she supposed to be like other than like kind of silly, kind of like mischievous, has something up her sleeve. She's always planning. She's always plotting, but she's also charming. And it's like, so is Corio. He's charming and mischievous and also a little bit silly, but in like a little bit weird sometimes, you know? But it's just easier to dunk on Lucy for whatever reason.
It was all good until she started singing every other page.
That's what she does, though. That's
I'll come to peace with it.
how she earns her living.
I'll come to peace with it one day.
I think when we hear the songs, it'll be better.
Yeah.
I'm
I
excited to
understand
hear
reading
them.
a tune that you like reading us lyrics and like not knowing what the tune is, and like I can understand that's frustrating. That's
But
not,
like there are
that's
fan
not
versions,
exciting.
and like for me that like fixed it because I
Yeah.
like them and I listen to those.
Yeah.
And, like I'm good with the singing.
It's not for
Yeah.
Santano.
Well,
And so the snake dress.
Kind of weird though.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I hope they cut
I
it,
mean, yeah.
honestly.
They can cut
I
it.
want to. I would like. I feel like they could do it in a tasteful way. I don't know, and like something that like looks cool. Because like when I read like the Mockingjay wedding dress scene, I was like, what? It was hard for me to imagine, and it sounded a little goofy to me. But like this also sounds goofy, so I feel like they can make it work. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like weird dresses are like a thing in the
Suzanne
Hunger
thing,
Games. So.
literally.
Hmm.
I mean, fashion's
Yeah,
always
like
been
fashion
big.
is saying something.
It'd be an interesting parallel, so maybe they should.
Yeah.
keep
Oh
it.
yeah, it would be so good actually to have that in there for just like the parallel.
Like the bird dress and the snake dress. I don't know. It is kind of cool.
If they can make it work, I'm curious. It kind of
If
gives
they
me the
can make it
creeps,
work,
though.
yeah. If I would hate it if it like looks so bad. I would just rather keep the image in my mind that I have. So.
Same. Oh god, I'm nervous. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna love it.
Well, chapter 20.
The drone chapter.
The
Roll
drone
with
chapter.
Yeah.
I can't stand this. This is like where I really struggle, honestly. For some reason. I don't know why. I can't envision this happening at all. Like with the aesthetic that they're going for in the movie, this like I cannot imagine a 1950s drone. Like
We better get a drone shot in the trailer.
I know I want
for
a
Ronnie.
drone shot. No, I would I will cheer, I will clap. Scream.
I wonder if they're going to include all these different songs or if Lucy Gray is going to sing like the Ballad of Lucy Gray again in the arena.
Mhm.
Or
I
if she
hope it's a
doesn't.
different songs. If she doesn't.
That's also an option.
I hope they keep all of them. I honestly would like to hear them. I mean, they did a good job with like the hanging tree and like Deep in the Meadow, in the original movies, and I like listening to them. So if they can do the same with these, I would be happy.
There's just so many different ones.
I know it's a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut it down though.
Again, it's just, I can't picture this. Every snake in the arena appeared to have fallen subject to her siren song and flocked her. I'm like,
No, I
can't.
can't.
I can't do it.
It's so funny, like thinking back to how Rachel, she compared the character to Snow White. The fact that like they communicate with animals, like,
Yeah.
and I was like just picturing Snow White in the arena, like singing to the snakes, and I'm like, no, I can't. How is this gonna work?
It's interesting. It's a choice. I wouldn't be
It's a
surprised if
choice.
they cut this down, but like I don't know, with that comment that she made, I feel like they're not going to cut this.
That's true.
No, yeah, it's definitely gonna be in there.
Oh
How are they gonna
yikes.
do it though? I just don't know.
I need a visual in the trailer. Just give me a little shot of this scene.
I just need all of this in the trailer. Just show us a scene. Like
The whole
I
movie.
wanna see it.
Let's go.
Imagine they just change everything.
I honestly like wouldn't be surprised if they did. Like if they just like cut all of this and just made it
Yeah.
a lot more
I think
easier
they're not
to
gonna
follow.
change enough. I think they should be okay with changing stuff more than probably they did.
We'll just have to see. I mean, it's definitely different. It just doesn't fit the aesthetic that they're going for. That's like what kind of bothers me the most too. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be bizarre to see, I think. And it's gonna be nothing like we thought it's gonna be. Like, even with all the pictures that we've seen and everything, it's gonna be so different than all of the set photos. Because of like they've done like the color, what is it called? Like correction and all that stuff. It's gonna look totally different. So we'll see.
I hope so, because that first look needs something.
Maybe they've like edited the uniforms so they don't have skirts.
Maybe they're not red in post. No, I like the red, actually.
So what's next?
What page are we?
We get a Gregor reference, like to her first books.
Oh, I didn't pick that up. What was it?
Every single time I read this part, I pick up on it. It's on page 306, and it says, "Being in the final five, he should have been flying high." Because like the main line in the Gregor books is "fly high."
Oh,
I
Aw.
just felt like she was putting that in there to kind of be like, I don't know, dropping it in there. Because whenever I hear it, I just think about her first series.
that's really cute, actually. I'm
Yeah,
sure she
I
did
like that.
I don't know, maybe that's a stretch, but that's like the first
No.
part, and I was
I
like,
don't think it
"Gregor!"
I
is.
haven't read it, so I wouldn't pick up on it. Suzanne's just having fun with this one, you know?
Yeah, she's having
definitely
a
is.
silly goose
Whatever.
time.
It's just such a and then like it gets to the end and you're like, wow, I want to die. Thanks
Yeah.
for that. The games are just I think the hardest part for me to really imagine. The rest of it I can, but it is kind of like a fun little break, I guess, in between like just depression. It's like a depression sandwich. Like the games are just silly and goofy, and then the bread is just sad.
Everything's sad.
The games part of the book. Are they really? Are the games the most important part of the book?
I don't know. It's
I mean, ought they be?
Absolutely. My favorite part.
Spoken like a
I-
true
Fan.
capitalist. Yeah.
I like the District 12 stuff a lot more, honestly.
Hmm.
I just think it's super interesting and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
I don't think a
part
lot of
3.
people like that one. Yeah, it's so good.
Mhm. It'll be so interesting to see District 12 as well.
Yes, I'm so curious.
We have Clemencia and Corio making
I
up
love
their
this part.
friendship.
Yay.
When she gives him the soap.
Oh.
Oh,
They're cute.
Yeah.
they're cute.
That's
I
when you
wonder-
know.
What happens
Me
between them?
too.
Feel like nothing good. Or, maybe they stay friends and like she's in his inner circle or something.
And like her family isn't descended from anybody in the book, like the original trilogy, right? Like at all.
Dovecoat? I don't think so. No.
So maybe he had a falling out or something. I hope nothing bad happened to her because she's such a great character.
He knows too much.
I can honestly see him having a falling out with like everyone in his grade. Because
Yeah.
Especially how
feel
the
like-
end of the book is, where he's like, I'm not going to care about anybody because that just brings you nothing good.
Yeah, because I feel like as he grew up, I feel like he doesn't want people to remember him at that vulnerable of a state. Like, I know that he wasn't showing his vulnerability, but I feel like he just wouldn't want anyone to even know about Lucy Gray, because they would remember like Lucy Gray in the 10th games. And so I feel like he would just not want to have any association or have anyone know that he had association with them.
It
Yeah.
seems like he keeps around. And he says this at the end of the book, but like maybe he'll marry Livia. And we know that the Heavens bees like end up pretty close to him and he doesn't like Hilarious. So it seems like he kind of just keeps the people who he doesn't like close to him.
Yeah.
Sad.
But it also
we
just
don't-
makes me wonder too, now talking about this, like how he would react knowing that there's people out there that know so much about his interaction with the 10th games. Because
I'm
like
sure he had to have killed all of them or something.
I think so.
Mhm.
that's what I think too, because it's just like I could not imagine him letting people live who knew that about him, because
Mhm.
all he wants is to have that master tape of the 10th games, and he wants no one to remember Lucy Gray. But there are people who are going to remember Lucy Gray.
Well, and their names like live on for
Mhm.
some of the characters,
Yeah.
like Heavensbee and Cardew.
Mm-hmm. So it's just
I don't-
kind of interesting to me. I don't know.
We need another book.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, Holly. I think he would probably kill off people who did know, and then if by the end of the book he realizes his biggest mistake was ever attempting to try to love Lucy, or so he says, and that he can never do that with anyone else. Like, of course, he's going to keep people, like what you said, Emily, he's going to keep people that he doesn't like close to him. And for his own sake and safety, he's going to keep away people that he potentially does like, because he doesn't want to repeat this fiasco.
For some reason, like reading this and like talking a little bit about the end of the book, like I was just really fascinated with the idea that Megs is so connected to this story in a way that like we'll never know, because she was the 11th victor.
Yeah.
Literally the next one.
Like at the end of the book,
She watched this.
Yeah, like, well, we don't know if she watched it necessarily, because like there's not
Nobody was watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But I just get so interested because then in the epilogue it talks about how he gets an internship as a game maker, and just thinking about like that
What?
relationship with like Megs existing and going into her games just a year later, like less than a year later.
What are you talking about?
So I feel like if we were to get another book, like that was just a reference that I made the other day. Like I think a Meg's perspective, like a Meg's story would be so fascinating to read.
Mhm.
I think it would be like a good sequel to this. Like I don't necessarily want a sequel to this, but if I had to pick one, I would do that route with it.
Because you would be seeing it one from like a different perspective, like a district perspective we have never seen before. Two, like you're seeing it from another games, but like this game is interesting because like the 11th games is interesting because it's so unlike the 10th games, but it would be so unlike the 74th or the 75th games.
Yeah, it's not in the arena, like in the capital arena, if I
Yeah, so
remember correctly.
we don't know like what would be involved and how, just like seeing, because there's so much change that happens in the 10th games. So it would be so cool to see like all of that put together and like fine-tuned for the next year. But then also seeing like political figures rise and maybe like President Ravenstill, something happens with them and stuff. I don't know.
I think
I
it
don't
would be
know. I'm just
super
rambling.
cool, but I don't think it would be quite far enough into the future to get more of like the answer, like to connect things to the trilogy that we are hoping to see.
Yeah.
So
think
Haymitch?
that-
So multiple books is what I think we're gonna have to do.
I still think that the Tigress book would be the best bet. For,
Oh,
like, the best
absolutely.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I could have somebody like, I feel like there's nobody niche enough to like write this fan fiction that I need. You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah,
write
it would be a
story.
really good fan fiction, like Mags, like knowing what we know now
Yeah.
from Ballad.
But anyway.
Suzanne, if you're listening,
Definitely is.
Then I feel like we get tributes dying like left and right here
Absolutely.
because we're getting towards the end.
Well, I think that this description of the arena is just so creepy on page 309, where it says the last of the clouds rolled out with the sunrise, dead snakes littered the arena.
oh
Jacob
yeah, I
floating in
hated that.
puddles. Like that's such a good description for like the eeriness and the tension that is like the final few. I don't know.
No, I agree.
Very cinematic.
Mhm.
Would make a really cool shot.
Yeah. No, I just picture like a shot of just like the snakes and the puddles and stuff and it like pouring rain.
Mhm.
Or it cuts
Sunlight
to
coming through that
action.
hole in the
Yeah.
roof.
Which we hope is there.
Mhm.
I like how we get to this point where all the mentors are just like living there too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're not going home at this point. Like it's too close to the end.
It sounds so uncomfortable how they're sleeping.
Yes.
I have a hard time sleeping on a plane. Like I could not sleep like that.
Vip Sonia with her like full bedding that she brought.
And that would be me. That would totally be me.
I really like the way that Suzanne writes this part of this chapter, just because I feel like you feel the tension and the excitement of who's going to win. Because
Mhm.
I mean, like
Yeah.
the first time that I read it, it's different from reading the Hunger Games because you're reading from Katniss's first person perspective and you're like, oh, well, she's clearly going to survive the game somehow. But this, you're not reading from the perspective of a tribute, so you don't know who's going to win the games. And I felt like a lot more tension for what was going to happen there.
Oh, same. I had no idea what was going to happen. And when we got to the District 12 twist, I like was shocked. Like it kind of felt like the reading Catching Fire.
Yeah. And
At
it's
the end
like,
of that.
I remember just reading, getting to the end of the games the first time and being like, there is still 200 pages left of this book.
Yeah, same.
Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I feel like you're reading it and you feel like it's possible that Lucy Gray might not make it. And I don't know what's happening for the rest of the plot, but like maybe he gets really like upset about it or something. So yeah, I agree.
He just walks around the city for like 200 pages.
The book.
Just his head down, just looking at the ground.
Just like reminiscing on old thoughts.
Some like Green Day or something plays in the
Oh my
background.
gosh,
Doesn't that happen where he like walks around and sits down kind
Yes.
of depressed on like a park bench or something? Like
Yes.
He's such an emo kid. It's hysterical.
So I
Is
think
this the
Tess-
drones?
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Tesla kills
Ugh.
Mizzen,
As in,
and then Treach kills Tesla
Oof.
like immediately.
Yeah, pretty brutally.
And then there's
Yeah.
only 3 left.
Final 3, final girl, final day. Maybe that too. And then he goes on to be like, Lucy Gray is more than just district.
Yeah, he's just
Like,
trying to
we-
put her in the public eye even more. Make her the favorite.
He's so annoying when he does that.
I love the bottom of 314 though, when like Lucy Gray's smart, so she's trying to like figure out how many people are left, and they're like, maybe we should like make this easier for them and like put up a scoreboard or something.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The precursor to the sky projections.
Could you
Mhm.
just imagine how disorienting it would be to be in an arena like that, in a situation like that, and have no idea how long is left?
Yeah, if there's like
know
10
who
people left or
Yeah.
one person left, like you have no idea. So,
Like,
you know, we're gonna help the tributes out, as Coriolanus says. Like, I think they'd find that really helpful. It's like, no, what they would find helpful is not being put in the arena.
Yeah.
and I almost wonder why, like, I get why they do it, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like it would just make the situation that much worse if you had no idea when it was going to end. But I understand why, for the entertainment, they like let them know.
Because then it can inform strategy amongst the tributes.
Mhm.
And that's when it gets really entertaining, is when people start to see strategy.
Yeah. But I feel like it's more torturous to like have no idea where you stand.
Yeah.
Strategy. How Survivor like.
Well, it's also like, you know, it's the whole hope thing too, right? Because it's like, you know, Snow says that in the first movie, which I love that scene with Seneca so much. You know, because it's like, yeah, if we wanted to intimidate the districts, why don't we just round up 24 of them and just execute them? Or like, you know, they
Right.
could round up 24 of them and then just put them on display, not feed them, like torture them, whatever. And then it's like, okay, you could do that, but then what's the point of doing that? Like, what does anyone get out of that really? But having like this element of hope, and having like the audience involvement with bets and strategy and, you know, that type of thing,
Mhm.
it's still completely horrible. I'm certainly not justifying any of it, right? But like,
But then
I
the
get that it's worth making that adjustment, because especially if the assignment here is, how do we make this more engaging? How do we make people invest emotionally in this? You want to give some human element to root for.
Mhm. Yeah, and it helps the tribute too, to like
Yeah.
to think like, oh, I'm in the final 3, I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
And they come
Maybe
out of
make a bold
hiding.
move. Or
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because
Like
it's
Big
like
moves.
other
strategy.
because it's like, other than that, like, I don't know, if it was me, like, not to be grim or anything, but it's like, I'm taking the early train. You feel me? Like, I'm not gonna participate in that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
Same.
if I have nothing to live for, I'm not letting anyone hurt me. Like, I'm going out on my own terms. But
Mhm.
if there is this opportunity of like, okay, well, maybe I can get, maybe there is a chance, or if I can keep track of who's alive or how many are left, like maybe there's a fighting chance there, and maybe that might keep me around longer. Or like, later on when we see, like sponsors sending in gifts and stuff and being like, okay, I might be in the arena, but maybe I can get food sent to me. Maybe I can get a weapon sent to me. Maybe I can get some type of advantage, right? Like that might motivate me to stick around longer and try to play the game.
Yeah, it's the prize. That's why she titled
Yeah.
this act, the second act, the prize. Like it's even why the mentors are so now motivated is because the plinth prize. Like it's this idea of even when you're in the arena, if there's a prize you can get, and if that prize is your life or some food or a weapon,
Yeah.
like you become more engaged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
So Lucy Gray ends up killing Treach with the snake that she has hidden away.
Pocket snake.
Pocket snake.
Yeah, the pocket snake.
Her little snakelet friend.
Pocket.
Her snakelet. She's wearing it as a snakelet.
Maybe they do have to be small because she
It's a
has to
snakelet.
like
It's gotta be pocket snake.
out.
And then
Yeah.
Capital, all the fashion becomes like wearing snakes and stuff like that, snake jewelry.
Like a snakelet. I would buy a snakelet.
I wouldn't, but that's good.
The merch possibilities for this.
And Koryo has this whole like fantasy. He's like, I can see it now about what life is going to be like after Lucy Gray wins the games because he thinks she can maybe do it at this point.
Oh yeah, he gets very overly hopeful, and he's like, I feel like what does he say? It's like he knows that his thoughts are like not.
He's planning their
gosh.
wedding.
Yes, he's planning their wedding basically. And then he's like, oh, it's kind of silly, but it's okay. I don't care because I'm winning. Like
He's so embarrassing.
he is.
And he wanted to keep her safe and close
Oh, I
at him.
hate it.
Admired, admiring, devoted.
So
Yeah.
possessive. It's creepy.
The entirely unequivocally his.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, write that down on your wedding vows, Snow.
Literally. He's like, no, it's cool. I can actually like think about this. I'm gonna wear this color suit, and then Dr. Gaw is gonna be there, and it's gonna be amazing.
I wonder how they'll convey this in the movie though, because like I can't imagine him saying this to somebody. Is there going to be like a wedding fantasy
He'll say
scene?
it to Sejanus.
He'll say
That's
it
true.
to Janus is gonna make a face like, "Wah," and then the shippers are gonna come out, and it's gonna be a whole thing, and it's gonna get thrown in edits.
It'll be a dream wedding sequence, kind of like Twilight,
God.
you know.
That's what I was
Snakes
thinking.
show
Yeah,
up,
could
the
you imagine?
mutations, like Dr. Gaul shows up or something.
Y'all remember that like really old fan art that I did, I think in like 2020 or 2021, where it was like, because I was listening to the song My Girl, but the Mamas and Papas version of it, and like it just makes me think of this very like trippy dream sequence type image in my head of like Snow and Lucy Gray just sort of like twirling around, whatever. It's
yes, my
yeah.
favorite.
Thank you.
I
Molly.
love that one. Yes.
I'm like, I want that so bad. I like so clearly see it in my head. And like the song is a very sweet song, but I feel like if you applied it here, it would have that very weird, creepy, possessive tone to it. But with the like candy colored, like hallucination type cinematography, whatever you want to call it.
I see it.
I want that. But
We
I might
need
be
a
asking.
fan edit.
We need
AJ, get to work again.
we need A24 to come in here just for the one scene.
Yes.
And that's it. It's not a scene that's in the book, but I feel like, they've added scenes that weren't in the book in the movies, especially with Snow. Just give me that. If it's too
so
late,
bad, and I'm not gonna
Francis,
get it now.
I will teach myself how to animate, and it'll take me 20 years to make it, but it'll happen. y'all should listen to that song. It's a song that's been covered a bunch of times, but specifically the Mamas and the Papas' cover is fantastic. Just shout out. And Cutthroat.
And Cutthroat. Yeah.
Justice for Cutthroat. The cool thing about just about Cutthroat, if it doesn't, it's not going to be part of this movie. I just, feel like we can all feel pretty confident about that. I will learn how to make edits, and that is going to be the only song that I use in all of my ballad edits. It needs to be done.
Gotta happen.
Yeah,
I feel
Just
like
hope we get-
edits is something I'm really looking forward to. I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like that's
they're
really
gonna
weird,
be really
but
good.
especially with like parallels to the original movies. Like,
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
I can't wait.
So good.
yeah, that's one thing to look forward to, because once the movie will be out, it'll be like, oh damn, we got here, now what, and so, but there'll be edits to look forward to, and
Hold us over until the
fan art.
DVDs,
Yes.
special
Yeah.
features. There'll be stuff afterward.
For sure. I'm just saying. I'm like already bracing myself. Like,
Oh, no.
I
stretch this
know.
out
We
as much
still
as
have
possible.
7 months of this, y'all.
I know.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Listen, who are we kidding? There'll be fan edits like right when the trailer drops. Like
Yes, that too.
immediately.
I'm also very much looking forward to that.
Watch
the
the
trailer.
trailer be a fan edit.
It could be.
Well,
It's
ever since,
2023.
yeah, and like that article about like Lionsgate talking about how they're trying to emulate fandom
They're trying to
style
be a
content
fan.
creation, yeah, for their official accounts. And I'm like, yeah, watch them just drop like a really sick edit and be like, that's it, that's the trailer.
Oh gosh.
Go along with our first look.
They're like, this is what Gen Z wants, right?
Some things shouldn't change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know, but yeah, all the
Yeah,
songs
both.
that I would have wanted to see in a ballad soundtrack that don't happen in any official way, I'm just gonna throw that in an edit and learn how to do it, and it's gonna happen because I need to scratch that part of my brain. It needs to happen one way or another. I can only draw so fast, so
I do
We'll make
feel like, I mean, with TikTok, it has changed a lot. Like we did our episode on ballad trailer predictions, and a couple of people commented things that sounded very like what do you want from the trailer? And it sounded kind of like a description of a TikTok video, like with a transition. And I'm like, well, I mean, maybe they'll do something like that for like a TikTok video, but
Right.
just interesting. People kind of think about like edits and I don't know what they want to see in a video, like a little bit
Well,
could you
differently now.
imagine that like the trailer is an edit and like let's say okay, so like that happens and like that might be kind of okay for like social media, but then like let's say you're in a movie theater, you're about to go see the new John Wick movie, you're about to go see the Barbie movie or whatever the hell it is, right? And then all of a sudden like the screen is like in like an awkward vertical format for like this one trailer edit. And it's just like a TikTok, and then it's like back to like the green screen with like the rating of like the next trailer, and you're like, what just happened? Did an employee just connect their phone to like the movie projector like for like a second? Like, what's going on?
I would imagine though that
Okay.
a lot of people, like especially younger people, get their movie trailers through TikTok, like as like promotion and stuff.
True.
They don't really seem to like seek it out, or like Twitter even.
Or like go to a movie and sit in the theater
Yeah.
to see a trailer at the beginning.
These
It
kids.
ju- These kids these days.
Gen Z.
Yeah, I've definitely never done that.
I mean, I'm the person that like, I need to get to a movie showing like before the trailers start.
Same.
The trailers, and anytime I've come into a movie theater like late because of like trains or like whatever, and I miss even just like one trailer, I'm upset. I'm like, nope, I needed to see whatever that was. Am I gonna go see whatever movie that was? Probably not, but I want the option.
See, I am the complete opposite. whatever the showtime is, I add 20 minutes to it because of the
gosh.
trailers.
That
Oh,
gives me so
right.
much anxiety.
I'm like, if the lights have gone down already, it is too late. Might as well walk out and come back another day.
My first job was at a movie theater, and like we wouldn't let people in 20 minutes after, and people would like scream at me. I'm just like, I'm just following the rules. I'm sorry.
No, but I get that.
Ronnie, was
It's
this
part
in
of-
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Oh my
My
goodness.
God.
I'm not safe.
It would
Yeah.
have been so fun if like y'all had that interaction and just found out about it now. Like, could you imagine Gabby's like, could you imagine like this one time I went to a movie theater and would you believe it? Like I went in because I didn't want to see the trailers and some freaking employee yelled at me and Ronnie's like, wait.
Okay, well, Gabby, when we see Ballad, we're going early. I'm
Oh,
just
of
prepping you
course.
now.
No.
Of course. All right.
I-
I
You can just deal
understand.
with it.
I mean, I
Alright.
went out. I waited for 8 hours for. I mean, it's for the last Harry Potter movie. I waited 8 hours.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
I
had
waited
off
16
school.
for the first Hunger Games movie.
Oh my
God.
God.
Harry Potter. We're not waiting for Harry Potter.
I know. Listen, my views have changed since then, but
But
I'm
I
like,
like
I miss
wait
I
forever
miss
for
those
Hunger
days
Games.
though. Like I miss like waiting for theater.
I do
like
too. Like
it's so
wanting to get a
fun.
good seat and like
yeah,
wait
like
for
midnight
the
premieres.
Yeah.
But even
You run to the theater.
But I feel
Yeah.
like even
Yes.
just like casual movie going, I feel like it's so different. Well, since COVID, but also since like streaming platforms became so big because like, you know, I mean, when I was in high school, like I would go to the movies almost every week or like every other week. I would buy my tickets on Fandango in class, and then I would just go to like the movie theater after class on Fridays.
Mhm.
And I felt like I just saw so many more movies. And then like now I feel like, you know, and I'm not knocking streaming services. There's definitely tons of like pros that have come from that. But like I've also talked with a lot of people in my close, like in my like, you know, real life circles, let's say. And they're like, oh yeah, I saw the ad for that. I'll just wait till it comes to streaming. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, don't you want to see it like on a big screen with like a
Yeah.
whole experience?
It
I
makes
feel
it that
like-
much more of like an event.
It
yeah, it's
does.
more of a
I feel
vibe.
like I don't know if it's just in New York or what the hell's going on, but I feel like less people care about that now. And then like, you know,
Yeah.
Ronnie can attest to this here in New York. A lot of movie theaters have closed. Like my
Oh,
favorite
it's
movie
so
theater
upsetting.
Mm.
around the corner
No,
from where I
same
live
here.
that has been there since I was a kid has closed down. And I mean, they haven't cited like a specific reason as to why that is, but like I can guess. And, you know, I appreciate that some studios are putting out films that are like theaters only. Like this will not come out on streaming until like way later, you know? And I
Mhm.
appreciate that and trying to like save that industry a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
It made sense during COVID when like nothing could be open, and it made sense to have things come directly to streaming for some films, but like I think people got really attached to that, and now it's like harder to go back the other way. And I don't go to movie theaters nearly as often anymore, and it's not because I'm not interested in movies like that have been coming out, but it just feels harder to get to movie theaters nowadays. I don't know what that's about. I also will say that movie ticket prices in New York City are outrageous. It's like
They're
$20
insane.
for like the most basic movie ticket. Like living in Savannah, I would get movie tickets for like $8 on Tuesdays. It was amazing, you know. So maybe that's also part of it. I don't know, but I love movie theaters. There's a whole like, yeah, it's like you said, it's an event. There's a whole
Mhm.
experience that comes with it. It's not just seeing the movie. It's like you're going there for an experience, for a
Yeah.
memory. You're going there with friends or with family or even just by yourself. I love going to the movies by myself.
Oh, it's my
Mhm.
favorite thing to do.
Same.
Yeah. I think the movie for me, I think it's better just watching it in a movie theater than
Yeah.
streaming it.
Yeah,
As
like
long as I'm not sitting next to anyone.
Same. Yeah.
Same.
I'm
So
not about to
awesome
sit
if you're
next to a
sitting next to a
stranger.
stranger. It's
Well,
so
like
No, thank
uncomfortable.
you.
I love going to the last showtime for movies. I did this with Annihilation in Savannah, and then maybe that backfired a little too much because then I was like in a really weird headspace after that, and then it was like dark out and liminal spaces and all that. But like, but you know, I saw Hidden Figures at like 10 p.m. on a Wednesday. There, I had the theater to myself. It was freaking fantastic. But it doesn't even have to be like the last show time, but like going during a weekday.
I love going in the afternoon on a weekday.
Same.
My favorite time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there's movies that like I'm grateful that I can see them again on streaming or like get a DVD or something, because I still buy DVDs, and not just Hunger Games DVDs, but like, I don't know. I'm just paranoid that the internet's gonna disappear one day, but that's neither here nor there. Point being that I'm grateful that I can see some of these films again, but like I saw the Batman in theaters when that came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
Such a good movie.
It's so good.
It's fantastic. And like seeing it in theaters is a completely different experience than seeing it like at home.
It is
Like,
not the same. And the vibration.
Yeah, the
it's
sound is
not
so
the same
good.
at all.
I saw Tenet in theaters. I was so like transfixed by it, and then watching it on my screen at home was like, it was fine, but like it was not nearly the same experience, you know.
Even
and
the
it's
Woman
special.
King, like whenever I watched it in the movie, like I was bawling my eyes out, and then watching on TV, I'm like, this is not the same.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and I don't necessarily think that that's a reflection of how good a movie is, you know, like there's so many variables that go into it, because you could also have a terrible movie theater experience, but like there's something special about seeing it in a specific resolution on a big screen with good audio that you just don't necessarily get unless you have like a built-in home theater, which I think most people don't. You know, and I mean, The Hunger Games, I saw it 6 times in theaters, which I feel very lucky for. And I remember at the time thinking like, I have to see this as many times as possible in theaters, because like it won't be in here forever. And like I had this weird like anxiety with like, as if seeing it 6 times in theaters is gonna like somehow accumulate like in my head, you know, and I'll have that memory more than like watching it at home. I don't know how to explain this, like, but I was just like, I need to soak this in because it's never going to happen again.
I mean, I feel like we understand you. I'm going to go see
100%.
Ballad like 50 times. So
yeah,
we're
Cry
there.
when it's my last time seeing it in theaters.
I'm
going to cry when it's my last time seeing it in theaters.
You probably won't even realize it's your last time.
Oh, stop it.
So,
sorry.
I think about that phenomenon a lot. Like, you don't know when's the last time you went to a playground. You don't know when's the last time you like saw your childhood friend, like little things like that. I know I live in this really weird sappy nostalgic land. Okay, this is the stuff I think about at like 2 a.m, but it also, I feel like, makes me more grateful for things. I try to stay more present that way. And I, like, yeah, with Ballad coming out, I'm about to be going like every other day. Like I don't, you know. And
no,
also
I'll make it like an everyday thing. Like
no, I was like multiple
after work,
times, morning, in the afternoon,
just
on the weekend.
We have AMC. We have AMC Movie Pass in New York City. I don't know if that's like a nationwide thing.
Yeah.
Do y'all know what that is?
I think it's nationwide.
Yeah, it's nationwide.
And like you can go, I think, like what, every day, like once a day or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Can you see the same movie though?
Yeah, like, you can see the same movie.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
You just buy like, I'm not advising anyone do this. This is a joke for legal reasons, but like just get the like a ticket for like one of the show times and then just hide in the bathroom until the next show time.
I could never. I mean, I like to think I could do that, but
no, I can't either.
I couldn't.
I snuck into Wolf of Wall Street when I was still 16, and I was like ready to pass out from the anxiety of doing that. And I felt really bad. They sold out that theater. Me and my friend bought tickets for Anchorman because I couldn't go see a rated R movie by myself legally yet. And like the theater, like Regal Union Square, used to be really strict about that.
R.I.P.
RIP. Yeah, rest in peace. And maybe that's karma, but like yeah, and my friend and I got seats, whatever, and then people, because they sold out that showtime, and so people were sitting on the steps, and that's definitely a fire hazard and like not okay. But that was like the one time I ever did something like that, and I was like, never again. That was too anxiety inducing. I'm not doing that. But it can be done. So take that how you will. But another thing with like the impact of COVID and stuff on movie theaters, I feel like the movie cycles are much shorter. Like when Don't Look Up came out, and I know that was like also like a Netflix thing, but it was out in theaters for like a week and then it was gone. And like same thing with The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I saw that 3 times in theaters, which I'm very lucky. But I had fully planned to see it again at least once or twice more before it left theaters, and it was just gone. Like movies just stay in theaters for like 2 weeks. That's it. Where I feel like it used to be like movies were in theaters for like a month. Like you had time to go see these things. Now you
like
don't.
multiple months. I mean, I remember the first Hunger Games movie I saw, I think, like 12 times in theaters.
Freaking Frozen.
I worked at a movie theater like when this happened, mind you. So I got to go like for free. It was a dream come true for me. But like it lasted for, I think we had it for like 3 or 4 months almost.
It definitely felt that way. I saw Frozen like 4 times. One of the times was a sing-along version, which I didn't even know you could do that. That was obnoxious but really fun. I'll call myself out for that. But anyway, yeah, it just felt like things were out for a lot longer. I don't know.
Like the Shazam movie came out and it was in for like 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
That's because it wasn't doing very well, but yeah.
Wait, which movie?
Shazam 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Holly makes a good point that we have 3 pages left.
Oh, that was Emily.
Oh, it was Emily?
We
Okay.
got 3.5 left. Let's wrap up the chapter.
Back to Ballad.
Back
I'm
to
emotional
Ballad.
about movie theaters. Okay.
No, it's fine. It's all good discussion. So we have Lucy Gray and Reaper. They're the final 2. And Lucy Gray gets the idea to mess with Reaper's flags. Right? So
No, go
she
for the
grabs she grabs the flag and starts running around with it, right? Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like going back and forth to exhaust him, to like
Run him to death.
She's like wearing
give
him
him a
out,
stroke.
which
like
I guess
carrying a
seems to
toddler
work.
before flight.
I don't think it works. He was poisoned, right? That's what I gathered from it. I don't know. I thought that she poisoned the water, like when because she drank some of the water. And
yeah, she put some in her bottle and then like dumped it back.
Yeah.
Something like that. But she does that to get him thirsty to drink the water.
Right. Okay. So he like passes out. It's like kind of awkward. It's like, so did I win?
It gives me first Hunger Games vibes though, like with Katniss and Peeta when they're just like waiting on top of the cornucopia for like hours.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Victor of the Hunger Games here.
She just chills out. I mean, I don't know what I would do in that situation.
And then it all happens really fast.
Yeah.
Like there's not much celebrating. Like, I mean, Snow is celebrating, everybody's celebrating, like he's feeling on top, and then it all goes downhill so quick.
Go to the office. Ugh.
Yeah, I like whenever I first read this book, I did not expect this twist.
Not at all.
Mm-mm. This is wild.
Definitely a top 2 twist from Suzanne.
Yeah.
Because like I think Holly, you said that like you weren't expecting, like there's 200 pages left after the games, and I knew that, but I couldn't imagine what they could have done with it. I was just like, oh, is he just going to go to the academy and then just become evil or something?
Right.
And then it's like District 12. I was like, oh snap, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that like we learn more about peacekeepers. I feel like that was just like a very like an important part of the trilogy was
Mhm.
the institution of the peacekeepers.
I agree.
And it's so cool. Like I never would have thought to learn like
Yeah.
discover more about it. But I think
Which-
it's so cool that she put this
And
in.
I love that hint that's dropped much earlier. That's like
Mhm.
it's right there. Like should have seen it coming in a way because Suzanne is very careful to put things in that matter, like information that we need, and dropping that information about like if you do something bad or like you owe a debt or something, like you can become a peacekeeper if you're a capital citizen.
Which,
Yeah.
something that I thought about with reading Ballad, but also with my obsession with Anabaria, is like we know like District 2 also, produces all the peacekeepers, right? And I'm like, so if you're a victor, you're basically like a celebrity, right? But you're not above the law. And so imagine being like you're a victor from District 2 or like even one, like whatever the career districts, and you have like your peers that were training alongside you for the games, but they didn't volunteer, they didn't get chosen, however it's structured. And then they go on to become enforcers of the law. And you've won a Hunger Games, but it's not like you get like you're absolved of whatever rules or anything. Like you're still beneath that. I don't know. Like I was just thinking about how that works. And like you're still like you're a victor, you're like elevated to this like really high status, I guess, but ultimately your peers that you trained with who might be on power trips or whatever have more power over you than you do as a victor,
Especially in this book in like the early Hunger Games, because it doesn't seem like the victors get anything.
Yeah. And so it's almost like you might be better off as a peacekeeper than you are as a victor in certain respects. And I don't know, it was just something
you're
I was
enforcing the social contract, and so that is a necessary part of the whole dynamic and controlling chaos.
Yeah. And I have to like check myself with what or my personal headcanons and what is applicable for my story, because I will fall down that rabbit hole really quickly. But it just got me thinking about it where I'm like, yeah, we really don't know anything about the peacekeepers and how that's structured. And it's also interesting that like you're not allowed to travel within districts like as a regular civilian, but if you're a peacekeeper, you might get stationed to a different district, which I always thought was really interesting. Like, in the original franchise, we see Thread who comes in is he coming from 2? I can't remember.
I believe
now.
so.
Yeah. And so like, that's also really interesting because they do such a good job of limiting information of like what different districts know about each other. Like Katniss talks about all the time how she doesn't really know how things are in different districts, and her only real knowledge of districts is like when she's talking with Rue in the arena about how life is like in 11, and she's like, holy shit, like that's crazy, it has no concept. But then you have all these peacekeepers who get stationed in different places, and then like from Ballad we learned that there's people from the capital who get put into peacekeeper ranks, and then they get sent to the districts. That just seems very chaotic, but also very strategic. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And again, proves that you might be better off as a peacekeeper because now it's not like you're traveling for vacation, but you're experiencing more of the country. You might learn more about the country you live in.
Especially if you're a rebel.
Yeah.
Right. And that's another thing too. I'm like, I wonder if there were peacekeepers who were aiding the rebellion, because I feel like they would be such great assets for that, since they do get all this like inside information and they can travel. And like, I don't know, like if I was originally from one of like, I don't know, I'm gonna make something up. If I'm from District 9 and I get reassigned to District 8 for whatever reason, you bet I'm passing along information one way or another. Like that just seems like such
that's a really good point. I've never thought about peacekeepers in that way. It makes me wish we saw more of District 2.
I'm so fascinated with the gray areas of Panem, whether it be careers, the peacekeepers, the District 13, like whatever. That it's just I don't know if it's because I had family that was in the resistance in France during World War II, and I'm just like have this in me where I'm like, I want to know who's breaking the rules. But yeah, it's, and also another thing with the peacekeepers being maybe like an advantage, you have housing, you're being fed, which is something that's not guaranteed for regular civilians
Mhm.
in certain districts.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, do you enlist? How does that
Right.
work?
But there's also like the risk of being deemed as a traitor amongst the districts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're always a second class citizen in the capital's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Yeah. Reminds me of
Lucy Gray-
Sejanus' situation a little bit.
right, yeah.
In
And like
those
Lucy Gray
ways.
always wants to say she's like in this in-between thing, but really, if we look at Sejanus' situation, like you said, and like the peacekeepers, like they're kind of in this weird limbo state.
And we also know from the original series, like some of those peacekeepers that Katniss is like friends with, for lack of a better term, like they're peacekeepers, but they're clearly not like all about the oppression either. But then you also have peacekeepers who are soliciting young girls for things that are very unsavory, you know, and there's that. Like, it's clearly like people who want to be on a power trip, they have like access to that, to like abusing their power. And then you have folks who are there because I guess they were in a bad situation and becoming a peacekeeper was the only viable option for whatever reason. Yeah, the peacekeeper portion was definitely like, when I was reading Ballad, the District 12 twist kind of annoyed me at first. I was like, really? Like, this could have been an opportunity to go to a different district. The peacekeeper aspect, though, was something that really took me aback, and I was like, wow, I really don't know where this is going. And that was exciting. Because I was like, this is like completely new territory. We really don't know anything about how this works. Yeah.
Yeah. So next time we talk about Ballad, we will be headed to District 12.
Woo! Woo!
I don't think we're going to be meeting next Thursday because a few of us are busy next week, but as always, if we happen to get the trailer some point next week, we might have an emergency tribute talk. We'll see.
Let's hope.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come out in May, just so I don't think that's going to happen. In my opinion, of course, but
of course,
I know some more people are more hopeful than me. So
yeah. So
let's keep waiting.
Wait. Let me do something before we end.
La 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 la.